Baker. And wow, I can't listen. Mondays just come around too quick, and I'm not I'm not understanding why the Mondays come around so quick. Let me adjust my camera here. Adjust myself. So happy Monday to everyone. My God. Those of you that are on the radio, welcome, welcome, welcome to you. It's my pleasure again to come into your home, to your cars, wherever you're viewing us from on social media. I'm just I'm just elated that you join us on tonight. Amen. So I'm just really happy to be here. Just give me 1 second. Yeah. So, but yes, so happy new month, happy May. My God, I can't believe we're saying May already. It was just January or February when we grew up, when we came back on. So I'm just saying, listen, people of God, love one another. Let us live our lives to, just ensure that we're enjoying our families, we're enjoying our friends, because here it is May 2nd. May 2nd already, and it's unbelievable. I cannot believe, I really can't believe that it's May 2nd already. So with that being said, what I want to talk to us about tonight is a very important topic I've been discussing with, just my husband and myself, and just being overall with just being conscious of the fact that we need to be together as a unit in our relationship, right? And so what I find that is that most persons, that we are not unified in our relationship um, when we are together as husband and wife, or even, parent children, there's no unity there. So tonight we're going to talk about, the importance of unity in the marriage. All right. Since this program is geared for married people, we're going to be talking strictly to couples. All right. Married couple, husbands and wives, because that's a big issue that I'm seeing a lot with different persons who they're not unified in their relationship, and it's a problem. It's, to me, it's a problem. It may not be a problem for them, but I think it's a huge problem. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. The importance of unity in our marriage. And I am big on words, so I like to look up the meaning of words. I don't know about you, but again, before we get into it, I just want to say thank you to Doctors Natalie and Sheldon Evans for affording me this privilege to be on the radio, 93.5 FM, the New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Philadelphia, the Pennsylvania area. Welcome, welcome again. It's good to be here, good to be in your homes, your cars. And I just want to say thank you so much. Those of you on YouTube, Facebook, just thank you and welcome. Thank you for the support on each week, how we come together in oneness just to, learn about marriage. And let me tell y'all something. Marriage, I'm not perfect, right? So when I bring up a topic, it's because of something that my husband and I have discussed, or we have identified something that needs to be tightened in our own relationship. So I don't want you to feel like I'm coming to you from a place of perfection, like, oh, I've perfected this and oh, I'm perfect. No, every time we have a topic, right? It hit home first, right? So like last week's topic, we were talking about, insecurities or being secure, feeling secure. And, if I thought that Evangelist Nikki did a phenomenal job with her presentation. She was really nervous, but I'm really giving God thanks for her because she stepped up to the plate at the last minute. So, and then even her and myself, we have to be unified because this is a relationship we got going on here, right? And so she's on, and I'm gonna bring her in a moment. And so I'm just saying welcome to those of you in the Zoom room, to my favorite tech in the whole wide world, my favorite technician, Brother Andre. He keeps me looking good, keeps everything flowing, right? So I just want to say, yes, we're going to be talking about unity, being unified in our relationship and recognizing that our spouse is not the enemy. And I know sometimes it may feel like they are the enemy. It may seem like they are the enemy. It may look like they are the enemy, but our spouses are not the enemy. All right. So with that being said, we're gonna bring in our co-host with us for tonight, Evangelist Nikki. I love the way we work well together. She just balanced off my craziness or vice versa. I don't know, but I'm just really giving God thanks for this woman of God here. So let me express this again to everyone, right? We're talking about unity. And how do we get unified is that we have to have a conversation. We have to have a conversation, because if we don't, we will be really it will be really one-sided. And so, as I stated earlier, welcome, Evangelist Nikki. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Right?
Howdy.
So I like that color blue on you. I really like that. That's a nice color.
Thank you.
So we're talking about unity, right? And the meaning, I love to look up words, because I want to make sure I am explaining it and bringing clarity to what it really is. I don't want to just be going off my head. Some things I know from my head, something I got to go to the Merriam dictionary for help, right? So unity, it means unity means the state of being united or joined as a whole, right? Like the European unity, where all the countries come together and they're unified, right? And also we see now where we have like organizations that are united, different religious groups that are united, and we see a group of certain persons that are united, like fraternities and sororities, and they're united and they take an oath and a pledge, to cover each other and to be each other's brother or sister, a united front, right? And so even so now it comes into our personal relationship with our spouse. I find that a lot of couples are not unified, right? And so when that happens, it causes havoc in the relationship. It presents a strain in the relationship, right? And so therefore, a lot of times you're wondering what is going on, why can't we unite? What is happening? So we all have to have that conversation. We have to have that conversation with our spouse about being one. Remember, the two is going to become one flesh. So if my husband has a headache, my head is hurting. If my husband is low on funds, I'm low on funds, right? Now, it shouldn't be where I have funds and my husband is struggling, and vice versa. It shouldn't be like that. We should have each other's back. And so we should be united. We should be joined as a whole. Now, I know most of you think that when you're married or when you're getting married is two half of people coming together to make one whole. No, it's two whole persons coming together to make one, right? And it's no 50-50 in marriage. And I don't know who started that lie, who started that rumor, but I'm here to tell you, marriage is not 50-50. Marriage, I think, is like 200, 2 or 300, 300. But it's no way that marriage can be 50-50, or else it would be a disaster. Help me out here, Sister Evangelist Nikki. If marriage was 50-50, what do you think would happen? Talk to us.
You're absolutely right. Like you said, we grew up here with that mindset that is 50-50. And my thing is always, my car needs 4 tires. So I can't come in with 2 tires. I need a whole 4 tires, right? So you need a complete set. It's too complex, because the difference is, when we say 50-50, we do it the world maths. The world mathematics is 50-50, give you 100%.
Right.
God maths is 100%, and 100% become 100%.
Exactly.
I have to come to you as a whole person so I can give you a whole mindset where you don't have to fill that other up, because a lot of us come with 50 and I expect you to fill my other tank with the other 50. So I'm depending on you. So if life happened, guess what? I'm depleted. I can't function. So we need to be a whole mindset. My favorite thing is the pies: physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual. No specific order, but we have to have those at 100%.
100%.
Be a whole.
100%. Because if two, I always say this: if two half a persons come together, that's a monster. that's what I always say. I say if two half of a person come together, like a half a man and a half a woman come together as one, it's a monster. You're like, what in the world was that? So we need two whole people coming together and being unified, not just for the wedding.
Ooh, child, don't say it now. Don't say it. Everybody's ready for the wedding. Everybody want the wedding day, but nobody prepare for the marriage.
We want you to come together as a whole after the wedding day. After you come back from the honeymoon, you need to be one. You need to be one. You need to be that whole unit, the whole conglomerate. You need to be unified. You need to be similar. You need to be one. You need to be one dot. When persons see me, they're seeing my husband, and vice versa. When they see Evangelist Nikki's husband, they're seeing her, and vice versa. It's no, oh, we're separate. I want to debunk that today, because it's causing havoc in the homes, and persons are not unified like we're supposed to be in our homes. It boils down to sometimes you can't even make a decision on what to eat.
Yes.
That becomes a problem, and I know sometimes I'm finicky sometimes when I want to eat, right? However, if my husband, and I tell him don't do this, but he does it anyway. Whatever I like, that's what he's gonna go with. I'm like, but babe, what do you want? You know what I mean? So he likes anything, but sometimes I want him to choose, and he's like, no, babe, you choose, because sometimes he may choose a restaurant that I may not like, but then I still enjoy it. But even though I may not like it, but I come together for the betterment of our relationship, and just to do something different out the box, what he wants to do at this particular time. So we have to know when to unify and how to unify, right? And like Evangelist Nikki say, in the mathematics, right? 1 and 1 make 2. But in the kingdom math, when a couple come together, 1 and 1 make 1. It makes 1. You're not a separate entity from your spouse. You are the same, right? You're the same. Now, the state of being oneness, right? A whole or totality as combined all its parts into one. We are one. Once you get married and consummate the marriage, you and your husband become one. You become one. You're combined into one. Unification, and that is necessary to be let me tell you something, and I'm going to bring this up. In the Bible, and in the book of Acts, Ananias and Sapphira, they were united in the lie that they told to Peter.
In debt.
To Paul, in debt to Peter. They lied. They listen, they made up in their mind, sold the properties that they had, because they were coming together as a one body, right? And so they sold their properties, but what they did, they hid part of the money. Now, this was a voluntary thing they had to do. However, they conspired in their heart to lie and cheat. And what happened? They both died. When the husband came in, and Peter asked, is this what you sold the property for? He said, yes. The Bible says that Peter said, listen, the men are at the door to carry your ghost out. Right? And he fell down dead, right? Now, also, when his wife came in and she presented, and he said, did you sell the property for this? And she said, yes. And he said, why did you and your husband conspire in your heart to lie to the Holy Ghost? They were unified until death. They were unified. Now, I'm not saying conspire with your husband in the lie. Now, that's totally different. But I'm just trying to bring out the point of how unified they were. Another example of unity in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, when the people built the Tower of Babel, right? And they were building the tower to get to heaven because they wanted to get to heaven. They had to get there. And the Bible said when the Lord saw how they were unified, he had to confound their languages because they said these people are such in unity that they're going to build a stairway to heaven. And I think that's where that songwriter got that from. Stairway to heaven. You know, however, when the Lord confounded their language, they got confused. So the power of unity is powerful. Powerful. It's powerful. We ought to, as husband and wife, come together and be unified. Even so, be unified because you know the children now, when you have children in a marriage, they know how to play one parent against the other. So you have to be unified as parents so that your child don't play mommy against daddy. You know, mommy said no, but you go ask daddy, daddy said yes, and then there's a big uproar, right? So we have to be unified even when dealing with our children. There must be unity. And we're not being a unified force when it comes to simple things in our homes, and it's causing a problem. Now, I'm not sure why we're not unifying, but then I know why we're not unifying, and I'm going to tell you in a minute. However, I find that since I'm really being unified with my husband, things flow so smooth for us. We come together to fast and pray, and things are so, when I tell you, things are so unified. Sometimes I'm thinking something and he'll call and say something. Like today, right? Today. Ever since I said to sow into your spouse and check up on your spouse, I've been intentionally doing it. So today, Sister Nikki, I called my husband around lunchtime. And I'm like, hey, babe, how are you? What's up? He's like, oh, I'm really stressed out. You know, he started just unloading on me. And I sat and I listened to him. And he's like, okay, enough of that. Why did you call me? I said, I called to see how you were doing. I just called to see how you were doing. So at that particular time that I called, I felt like something was not going well with his day. And so I called at the proper time for him to just unload and get it off. So, and he felt better when we got off the phone. That's unity. Like you can sense when something is not going right with your spouse. Have that ever happened to you, Evangelist Nikki?
Absolutely, absolutely. That soul connection is so real when you're both connected, you know, you can sense it. And even before they even said a word, you know, to give you the full detail of what's going on, you hear it first in their tone, the way they answer the phone. You can pick up that something is off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, I mean, it's a beautiful thing when you're connected like that. Now, someone may say, but we're together, right? So is there a difference between togetherness and unity? You know, now, unity, is it that unity is unaccountable oneness? Now, the state or effect of being one individual, one undivided entity, while togetherness is uncountable, or the state of quality of being together. Now, do you know that you can be together in the same room but not present with each other?
And not even in the same relationship. You could be in
And
the
not even-
same bed, but not even in the same relationship. But you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
I'm telling my business today, right? So I know sometimes when I'm on the phone with my husband and we're having an awesome conversation and I may pause and he's like, you're distracted.
I can sense that too. I do that a lot with my husband because my love language is quality time. So the minute the conversation is not flowing away, it was flowing before, I know he's distracted on WhatsApp, IG, something caught his attention. And I'm like, are you there? And I'm like, did you hear what I said? And then he tried to rephrase and I said, what you doing?
Yes, and it's the same thing with my husband and I. And he's always calling me out. He's like, babe, what are you doing? He's like, and I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you're distracted. You're distracted. And then he's like, and sometimes he's like, I'll leave you to your distraction. I'm like, no. Trust me, they can sense it.
Yes.
And because of the relationship that I have with my husband and that Evangelist Nikki had with her husband, my husband can call me out on it and she can call her husband out on it because when they need that time, they need that time, right? And some persons may not say anything and allow you to be distracted. Now that's not good. Because then after a while, you're gonna say, but what happened? You're not talking, you shut down. And could it be that's the reason why your spouse shut down because you're not present when you are together, whether it be on a phone conversation or in person. So that could be a thing too, and that just came to me just now.
That's a good idea. That's very critical right there. You're absolutely right. That is very key right there.
Could it be that it's because you have not been present? Because I know even sometimes, I'm going to tell my business. I'm telling my business. Sometimes I'm talking to Lady Renee Thomas James, right? And if I'm at work and she's talking to me, then I start reading the contract and she's like, okay, miss, something took your attention. So it's not just husband and wife. When you're talking to someone else on the phone as well, if that person wants that attention or know that the conversation is not flowing or something cut off, they can tell that you're doing something other than speaking to them. And so she'll say, okay, miss, you're not present. You're not present in the conversation, right? And I'll have to laugh and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, right? Because most of the time I'm multitasking, I'm doing so many things. So it's not that I do it on purpose, but when I'm called out on it, I stop and make sure I give that person that time because to me, that's rude. That's rude.
For somebody like me, whose love language is quality time, yes, it's very offensive. And I don't feel valued when you do that to me, because for me, time is the most precious commodity and it's something we don't get back this very second. And if I take the time out to reach out to you or vice versa, I need to be in the present, be available. Because I'll say to my husband, here what? Call me back when you have some downtime. And he's like, what? I said, call me back when you have some downtime.
It's really amazing now. So ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are always saying, my husband is not talking, he just went silent, or my wife is not talking, check the time when you are together. Are you present? Yes. It could be you both sitting there watching a movie, right, together, right? This is an example. You're watching a movie together, both of you watching a movie, but one of the person is on the phone. So then you're not paying attention to the movie. So that could be
no phones.
that could be an issue. That could be an issue. You know what I'm saying? And one
of the things is to Evangelist, if your spouse or your person keeps saying, you don't listen, you don't pay attention. Like you said, they just don't know how to verbalize it because now it's becoming resentment. When they keep saying you're never listening, you don't pay attention, you're always never available to give me undivided attention, it's anger, resentment start building up. So you don't want it to get to those points. So when person said, are you available? You're not paying attention. Don't just keep apologizing, make it intentional. Like, this is the time, at least 5 minutes. I'm a firm believer in couples, persons, take time out together, at least 5 minutes, just to unwind, just to talk about any and everything, undivided attention, no TV, no phone, no distraction, just be in the now to hear each other out. It's very important, especially for us women in the workplace. We need that when we get home, to separate, to get back into our feminine energy and get out of the masculine energy in the workplace, just to be female again, to just unwind and just hear your spouse said, how was your day? And not just saying just as a routine, but intentionally listen. Not one solution. We just want you to listen. Give us that undivided attention. That's it.
I'm telling you, it is so critical, because this unity has messed up a whole lot of relationships, because persons feel some type of way.
Yes, and they don't know how to verbalize it without sounding resentful. Right. And like I said, communication is the key. Have that dialogue. Once it's happened once, twice, after the third time, no, you got to nip it in the bud. You got to have that conversation. You got to let it be cleared to them why this is important to you and how does it make you feel when you do X, Y, and Z. Because if we're at work and we're in a meeting with our superiors or our team meeting or whatnot, and they said no phones, we honor that, we respect that. So it's not like we can't disconnect from the phone, like, oh, I'm glued to my phone. Rubbish. If we're not meeting or whatever and they said no phone, or government buildings, certain building or certain function said no phones, we honors that. Why can't we honor that to our spouse? We have to wait till that resentment comes up and they will say, oh, they're just complaining and they're becoming a nag. It's imperative, because everyone feels love differently. And personally, like I said, for me, love language is quality time. And that means give me your, even if 60 seconds you give me, let it be undivided. True. It's very imperative. So I know folks like, well, I work on my phone, and no, you don't work 24 hours a week. No. You can tune out. You can respect your spouse the same way you give your colleagues, your co-workers, your manager, those undivided attention. We have to be intentional with our first institution, which is our marriage.
Yeah. And some part of the study that I show, it says, what is the importance of unity? And they said, unity provides a constant source of positive motivation and greater accomplishment. So it's very important in our marriage to provide that source of oneness, of unity. You can't always be divided. Now, does that mean because we're one, we're going to always agree? No.
No.
You're not going to always agree. However, though, you will come to a what's the word I'm looking for? You will come to a consensus to say, you know what, all right, let's agree to disagree on that one without you going to bed upset or somebody's angry, somebody becoming offensive. See, in everything that we do in our marriage, it boils down to what? Communication.
Effective communication.
Yes.
A lot of people are talking, a lot of people are conversing, but are we communicating effectively? Checking to make sure we understand, what was said and how we're going to execute on it. Because a lot of time we say stuff in a statement, or we say demanding, and how we word our dialogue when we're speaking to our spouse. We don't season it with grace and honey. And if they're not agreeing with what we're saying, then we make them to be the bad person. And we try everything to get them to see our point of view. And it's okay to say, listen, I might not understand where you're coming from, but I hear you. Right. I'm not disagreeing with you. I just don't see that perspective from where I'm sitting. However, I'm not saying it's wrong, but I don't understand it. Help me understand it. Something to that effect. And they said, that don't make sense. What are you, and we start being negative and condemning and judgmental, then you got to put that person in a corner not to have a conversation anymore, because now they're going to feel not being heard. So now you're starting a division right there. I can't talk to you, I can't come to you because we're never on the same page. You always see something negative. And like I said, unity is united to come to be oneness, not division, but to come to increase each other in knowledge, and strengthen each other. Wherever we are weak, we can communicate and say, this is where I'm struggling with. Can you help me here? And explain the whys. But a lot of time we come and the way we verbalize our request to come off like demanding, and no one's wants to hear that. And that's how we said we're not communicating effectively. You got to watch how you work. And you know, you said it the other day on one of the program, timing is everything. Mm-hmm. Timing is everything, how we have effective communication. The timing is imperative. You have to check your spouse's temperature when you want to have effective communication to make sure that it's being heard.
You said something, I want to go piggyback on it. You said, when we're not speaking effective communication, we always say, you never listen to what I.
You start with a never. You always. That's negative. Right. All comes up. Nobody hearing anyone anymore because I'm in defensive mode, and your spouse is going to be in defensive mode because you're telling me, oh, I forgot to take out the trash today, and I'm saying you never remember to take out the trash. One incident. You never, don't use that. That's a negative connotation, and everyone gets in a shell because now you're putting on a wall because I have to protect me because I'm going to get into a defensive mode. So again, the verbiage is very imperative. You know, say, you know what, honey, I love it so much when you take out the garbage with those strong muscles. Yes.
You know, in I think I don't know if it's a Jamaican proverb, Chinese proverb, what proverb, but you know, the old saying is encouragement sweetens the labor.
There you go. Use honey sweetens the labor. Let your word be seasoned with honey and grace. If you said your spouse, I'm gonna buy you flowers in a while, oh, comes, you never buy me flowers. Babe, you know what? I love when you send me roses. It's just brighten my day, you know? Oh, you never take me to the movies. So-and-so always be going to the movie. Babe, I love spending quality time with you at the movies. How you think about this weekend? Do you think we can make it this weekend? You know what I'm saying? It's your verbiage. The word never, you never, think about it, somebody say that to you. The first thing is count. You start taking a tally now. Really? Since I know you're saying I never, and you're in a defensive mode now because you're trying to defend the argument. And as a spouse, when we're united, we have to be able to speak in a way where it brings us closer together and not further apart.
That's true. Let me tell you something. I crack up laughing a lot of times because sometimes these topics, I'm like, Marcia, you're just going to be telling on yourself. But this is what this prayer for marriage is all about, being transparent to, you know, I can't pretend because I know, you know, how I've been refined to be able to come and speak. Do I have the perfect marriage? Is everything hunky-dory? No, but however, we have an awesome relationship. And it gets better each time, each day. You know, I'm learning something new about my husband every day, and I'm finding out, Evangelist Nikki, that the more I love on my husband and so into him, he just blushes and blushes and blushes, and I'm like, oh my God, why didn't I think of this to do a long time ago? You know what I mean? And so I'm telling you, those of you out there that are listening to us, you're on the radio, you're on YouTube, you're on Facebook, you're in the Zoom room. If you haven't already started sowing into your husband and pouring into them, or even your spouse, start doing it. I'm telling you, it's the best feeling in the world. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. It could be, Evangelist Nikki say, you know, she give her husband money to go get his hair cut. Here, babe, go get your hair cut. You know, hey, I sent you some money for lunch, you know. It's the little things that matters. Just like it's the little things that destroys the relationship, yes. It's the little things that help to build the relationship. So, you know, and unity is a big one that most people, they're not together on so many things in the relationship. Now you may ask, how do I build team unity? How do my husband and I, how can we build unity as a couple? Number one, clearly define your goals together. Come together, list your goals, and he's going to list his goal, and then you're going to combine them. You know, a lot of times couples, like I know when I first met my husband, that was one of my first questions to him. What is your goals for our family? What are your goals? Where do you see us? You know, what do you have planned for our family? So after he gave me his goals, like, you know, maybe like a year or two into the marriage, Evangelist Nikki, he was like, so what is your goals? I'm like, to help bring yours to fruition. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, he's like, that don't sound like you have any goals. I'm like, but I want to work on your goals to help us build. You know what I mean? Help us build. I said, yes, I do have goals, but let's work on building yours. And some of his goals were my goals. You know what I mean? And I let him know that. I said, babe, we are so similar. We're so much alike because we're thinking alike. Honest to God, I can call my husband about something and I'll call him. I say, hey, babe, and he's like, you know what I was thinking? And it's the same thing that I was thinking. You know what I'm saying? So when you get like that, then you know you're in sync. And so if anything comes and you're out of sync, then you know something is off. I can easily check and be like, wait a minute, something is off. You know what I mean? Something is off, something ain't right. And sometimes it's me that's not right. You know, trust me, it's always me that's not right. Because my husband, he plays his hands correct. Trust me, I'm the issue. I'm the problem. And I can say that because I see my issue, and that's why I can bring it to us ladies to say, ladies, check yourself. Because sometimes it's us, you know. We always want them to change and do, but sometimes it's for us to change. Sometimes it's for us to say, you know what, let me just sit back, relax. You know what I mean? And enjoy what is happening with my spouse or enjoy what my spouse wants. So a lot of times it could be us. Just sit back, take retrospect and say, you know what? Let me do it this way this time. Let me try it this way. So the number one thing, welcome to those of you that are just joining in, how to build unity, how to become a unified force as a husband and wife. Number one, we stated clearly define your goals. And I mean clearly define them. Number two, and I know this is where a lot of persons go off. Clearly define your role. Ladies, we need to know our role as wives, and husbands, you need to know your role as husband. And what I'm finding out a lot of times, Evangelist Nikki, is that persons don't know their role in the relationship. And most of the time, guess who don't know their role?
Us. It start with us. Yeah, start with us. Yes.
And you know what happened? And I know y'all say, there she go again on the women. Most of the time, ladies, we're trying to play the role of the husband because we may not see, it may seem like they're not doing what they're supposed to do. So we take on their role and our role and we get it confused. And we think that we need to be doing A, B, C, D. No, please allow your spouse to play their role. And most of the time, men don't play the role of the woman. They don't want to play, they don't want our role.
Nope.
So ladies, don't take up their role. To be unified, clearly define the role. And that could be with everything. Now, if you have children, who's going to pick up the children? Who's going to drop off the children? Who's going to go grocery shopping? Who's going to do laundry? Who's going to help? You know, every possible thing that concerns your relationship, it needs to be, the role clearly needs to be defined. Now, there's no such thing as, and I'm trying to debunk that, and I know we say, you know, the woman's role is to make the home. Yes, we are homemakers. Ladies, we are homemakers, right? That's our duty, right? However, if we have a spouse that wants to share in the homemaking, let them.
And if there's a time together there.
And if they don't, try to incorporate it in a way where they would want to help you out. Don't make it like you never, like Evangelist Nikki just said, you never want to help with the children. You never want to do this. You never want to do that. No, don't do that. When we're defining the roles, make it pliable to both the male and the female, so both will be acceptable of the role. You're running late from work. Okay, you know you have to come home to cook. You know, you send a message, babe, I'm running a few minutes behind. Everything is already, the casserole is in the fridge. All you have to do is just put it in the oven. Put it on 350, and you know you may have to walk them through how to turn the oven on. Walk them through it. If they need to take the aluminum foil off, give clear instruction, babe. Remember, don't leave the aluminum foil on because we don't want it to sweat too much, you know, or remember to put the aluminum foil on, you know, take whatever out of the freezer. Be specific, you know, because they can't read our mind. You know, we most of the time we'll say, but they should know what to do. They should, but they don't. And that goes for some women too. You know, your spouse could be asking you to do something that he normally do. Don't feel bad if you don't know. Let him teach you, right? Let him teach you. Now, my husband, I'll season the meat and he'll cook it. And I'll say every single time, babe, you add something to my pot. You add something to the meat when you was cooking it. He's like, no, babe, I didn't, because it be tasting so good. It don't taste like I seasoned it, right? So, and he always crack up laughing. He's like, I'm just gonna let you cook next time. I'm like, no, I love it, you know? So a lot of times when we don't define our roles and stay in our roles, it becomes problem. The unity gets messed up. Let me tell you something. As we stated earlier, for those of you who are just joining us, it's the little things that makes or breaks the relationship. So little things like defining the role and let your spouse know with effective communication how you feel, you know, when they're not present in a conversation or present, you're in the same room watching TV, you laying on him and he think you watching TV and you on your phone on Facebook or Instagram. And then when he get upset, or it could be vice versa, you know, the man is on his phone on Facebook or Instagram or playing a game, right? And you say, wait a minute. And they'll say, but I'm here, we're here. No, but you're not present because you're doing something else. And I know a lot of persons, I'm going to get a lot of messages to say, Evangelist, you put my business out there. Yeah, I'm putting it out there because we need to come together as a unified front to support each other, right? So number 3, establish trust. When we establish trust, my God, the unity that will be there. And I know for some, the trust was broken, you can rebuild it. And I think we did a topic on how to rebuild trust. I know we did. I don't know of a topic that we have not covered on this here broadcast. But I know we've discussed, you know, how to build trust. So you establish trust. Your word is your bond. My mom embedded that in me from a young girl. Marcia, whatever you say, your word is your bond. Say what you mean and mean what you mean. Don't change up. It's nothing more discouraging than you say something, say you're gonna do something, and then when it doesn't happen, and you say, "Oh, I didn't say I was gonna do that." Yeah, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Right? Because then now that becomes a different behavior, right? And so establish trust. That's number 3. Number 1 is clearly defining goals. Number 2, clearly defining roles. And I'm wondering why when I researched it, why they put clearly, because persons are not bringing clarity to what they want. So we have to make sure we are giving clarification, right? Number 4, encourage open, effective communication. And we tapped on that earlier. Effective communication is so important. Let's put away the phones. Let's put away the tablets. Let's log out of Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and let's start communicating. Let's start encouraging open communication with our spouse. I just bought a book the other day for my couples counseling about questions to the open-ended questions to ask your spouse so the communication can flow. Right? Because a lot of times we expect them to read our minds. And most of us, if not all of us, I don't think any of us are married to psychics. And so they can't read minds. So you have to clearly, effectively communicate, right? And number 5, and this is the last step, practice all of the from 1 to 4. Put them into practice. Apply them, apply the steps, and watch for the unity of your relationship. When you're unified, it provides a constant source of positive motivation and greater accomplishment. When you and your spouse soar unified force, when you're on one accord, right? When you're on one accord, you're coming together. Say, for instance, you and your spouse say, you know what? For the next year, we each, when we get paid, we know our monies come together in a joint or separately, or we put certain money in a joint account. Let's put an additional $5 or $10 or $20 each week or each time we get paid in an account, and to grow that, and don't touch that $5 or $10 or $20, and see what we have at the end of the year for a nice vacation, and see what happens. I'm telling you, when you and your spouse become one, and recognize that your spouse is not the enemy. I know a certain spirit may rise up in them, but they are not the enemy. Contrary to what you may think, or even I may think, our spouse is not the enemy. They're not the enemy, right? They're not the enemy. And the power of unity, the power of oneness, we are in this thing together. I don't think anybody gets married with the idea of breaking up or being a separate entity from their spouse. I don't think anybody does or says that, right? Because if you're going into marriage divided, that's how it's going to be, right? So the power of oneness will make the lovemaking so good, because you're in tune with each other. Lord, I had to put that in there, right? I just think, I had to put that in there. The core belief of the power of unity is on the foundation that we're going to be one. When you and your spouse is one, you are a force to be reckoned with. Nobody can come to them and say, oh, Jill, so-and-so about your husband. He's like, no, not my husband. They won't be able to tell you anything about Curtis. Because you're like, nope, that's not my husband. Nope. Nope. Kamara, nobody will be able to come to you and say your husband, and vice versa, because they're like, oh no, my husband already know. If somebody come to my husband and say, your wife was a little short with me, he's like, oh yeah, what did you do? Because yeah, she will be short with you. You understand what I'm saying? So he knows what I'm capable of, and he knows that if I'm short with you, it's because you said something that really threw me, so I just try to cut you off. Now, you have to make sure you're bringing unity to your house. You have to make sure you're bringing unity in your house, even when it comes to your family members. Lord Jesus, and I know that's a touchy situation right there, because persons love their family. They love their family.
My spouse, Evangelist, and most of my circles is that one of the things that we both agree on, no one can come between us but us. Doesn't matter, children, family, friend, whatever. The only person that can come between me and my spouse is us, because it's two of us that vow to be together. We have to honor that vow with each other, and we constantly remind each other, like when stuff come up, like you said, those hot buttons, those people that near and dear to us. I gotta remind him, and he remind me, remember, babe? And I'm like, remember, babe, the only person that can come between us is us.
Yep, it's us. Now sometimes, sometimes, my husband want to say no to somebody, and he's like, let me ask my wife. I said, no, don't do that. If you want to tell them no, because then I don't want to look like the bad person. Then he'll start laughing. He's like,
I don't mind. That I don't mind. So my wife said, my wife said, we can't do it this time. No, I'm okay with that.
I'm just thinking, I don't want to look like the bad person all the time. So I'm like,
see, you put your husband under the bus instead of taking that hell for him. And at the end of the night, it's be a win-win, because we're like, babe, thank you for cutting my back. Thank you for covering me. Quite a different approach. When he said he gonna say, can I use it as scapegoat in this one? Honey, I don't want them to, how I feel, and I'm tired of telling them no. So this time, can you take this one for me? At the end of the day, honey, he gonna reward you. Try it.
But sometimes I'm like, babe, you already know the
But
deal.
I got you. This I'm like, no, you're on your own with this one. I ain't doing this dance with you. You're on your own. You're a bad cop. Put your husband under the bus.
Now, listen to this, right? The Bible instructs us, and for those of us that are Christians, those of you that are Christians that are listening, the Bible instructs us to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace, right? And for those of you of other religious affiliation, you know whatever your religious book saying, I'm sure it's saying keeping the oneness, the bond, and the unity of peace, right? The Bible says in Ephesians chapter 4, for there is one body, one spirit, even as we are called in one hope of our calling, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in us all. So we are one. We are one spirit. We're not, my husband is not a separate spirit from me. We are one, and the twain shall become one flesh. So guess what? If your husband is struggling, you both struggling, and you're struggling come out together. Right? Now, so sometimes, you know, we, as women, sometimes we are very strong-willed. And our spouses may be kind of laid back, chill, you know what I mean? That doesn't give us the right to overrule and override them. We still have to be in unity with them, right? And trust me, ladies, you want to be in unity with your spouse. You want to be in oneness. That relationship, it's different. The glow in the relationship is different when you are a unified source. Amen. Oh God, I hope tonight that we came and shed some light on why you think that things weren't going all good in your relationship. I'm hoping that we were able to shed some light on why you need to be a unified one source in your relationship so that your relationship can get better. Remember, the goal of this program is to bring families together, you know, bring couples together, allow marriages to work, one couple, one family at a time. We want to save marriages. Marriages are awesome, and we want to have unity in our marriage. We want to have peace in our marriage. We want our marriage to flourish. We want to be successful in our marriage. And I know hiccups come, there are hiccups along the way, and sometimes you may not know how to handle the hiccups. Reach out to me, right? Reach out to us, send us a message. We are here for you. You know, we will respond to your messages in a timely manner. Maybe you need counseling, you know, one-on-one counseling. You can also reach out to us, and we will make sure you get the proper counsel that you need. Amen. Evangelist Nikki, anything that you have to say before we close out? Anything else you want to say?
And again, it starts with us. The change starts with us. You know, wherever there's a division, never question what he's doing wrong. Always self-examine self. Because 95% of the time it's self, not the other person. So always, before we said he never, he always, he don't care, he don't love me, all these things, check self, do a self-inventory, a self-assessment. And if you can't find anything else, try to focus on the positive. Simple things that you take for granted. He's home with you, he's healthy, you know, encourage him, compliment him on the things that he's doing well. And that will alleviate the negative notion of having those negative conversations. So let's examine self. The change starts with us, male, female, it doesn't matter. It's two-person relationship. If you're seeing something wrong, start with self, do a self-inventory.
Yes, amen. And I really, I second that. I agree with that. All right. So again, we thank you for coming. Please, if you have not yet done so, please subscribe to our channel, Marcia Baker's Ministries. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, hit the share button, just in case you don't want to miss us when we go live every Monday at 7 p.m. Again, I want to give a big shout out to Doctors Natalie and Sheldon Evans, all of those that are listening to on Favor FM. Love you all. Those in the Zoom room, I love you all so much. Lady Jill, love you, Lady Nicole, my mom, all of us. And those of you on YouTube, Facebook, have an awesome, awesome evening. And may your evening and your month be awesome. Enjoy your week. We love you. Have an awesome week. Bye-bye till next Monday. God bless you. God keep you.
Be blessed.
Be blessed.
Be blessed. Be blessed. Make it an amazing day, everybody.
Let Favor FM Radio advertise your business, product, church program, concert, conference today. Call our advertising department and find out about our ideal promotional package to suit your needs. Call us at 866-799-7271. That's 866-799-7271.
Evangelism Family Life Ministries and Favor FM Radio 93.5 in association with Team Kingdom Alliance presents the 12 noon Prayer Power Hour, Monday through Friday at 12 noon, shifting the atmosphere. You must be a part of it. It happens at 12 noon, Monday through Friday. Dial in on the conference call at 646-475-1644. That's 646-475-1644. You can also join in on Facebook Live and favorfmradio.com.
Favor FM Radio loves and appreciates you, all listeners. If this ministry has been a blessing to you and impacted your life, here's an opportunity to show your love and support by becoming a monthly covenant partner or sowing a seed today. Log on to our website, www.favorfm.com. That's www.favorfm.com, and hit that donate button or call 866-799-7271. That's 866-799-7271. Please support us as we continue to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ to God's people through music, the word, and testimonies. Thank you for standing with us.